Here we go again, Leo. It's July 2020. Thanks for joining me. How are you all out there? You staying safe? How are you coping with all this COVID stuff? It's really, really challenging, that's for sure. Let me show you what's been happening between last month's eclipse, which took place here, in your 12th house. We talked about that. The reason I'm just wondering why this is that, well, yeah, it's animating now. I just wanted to show you, especially leading up to the 5th. We had that solar eclipse last month, very, very important for you in terms of understanding your past, in terms of understanding your spiritual potential. But here we see, straight off the bat, around the 4th, moon making contact with the spiritual significator, Ketu, or the south node here in your 5th house. This is also a spiritual sector related to mantras and prayers and that sort of thing. But I want to bring that up here into this lunar eclipse on the 5th. So it swings between this 12th house of selfless service to this 6th house of, I guess, it's a form of contrived service. This is the workplace activities. Notice 3 retrograde planets here, Saturn, Jupiter and Pluto in the 6th house of work. Total review over your work. Not just the work itself, I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but the natural ruler of the 6th house, Mercury, retrograde as well. You've got Neptune there in the 8th house of shared resources, also doing a retrograde dance in the zodiac belt right now. What I mean by this, and look, you've got this opposition, it's going to form as this planet goes direct later in the month around the 12th. I'll say that now because when I get carried away here, I sometimes miss some of these significant points. The big point I'm trying to make here is that not only the work itself, the 6th house has to do with the way that you work. What's that I was saying? It's not what you do, but the way that you do it, and that's what really counts. So that's what these 3 retrograde planets are alluding to. It's important for you to not go back and ask yourself, well, what was the job that I was doing then, and how much was I getting paid? What was my schedule? How far did I have to travel? Who were the people I was working with? They're all the, what we call the superficial questions related to work, this 6th house. Notice also Mars here in the 9th house. So I'm getting a bit, I'll stop it. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Then I can get to that. It's got to do with the way in which you bring your mind, your attention, the way you expand yourself, Jupiter, the way you focus and transform yourself, Pluto, the way you execute and manifest the work that you're doing. All of these things are anything, well, they may appear to be superficial, but it has more to do with one's attitudinal approach. And look up here, I'll start this again. Look up here at the moon, transiting the planet Uranus there in the 10th house of career. It did so after transiting Mars, the fiery planet. This is a principle-based planet for you because it rules your 9th house of Aries, which is principles, belief systems, the paradigm you're working in. We see here too that there's been there's been a problem with Mars because it was associated with Neptune in the water sign here in the 8th house. It was a little bit ineffectual there for a couple of months, I think you'd agree. As it's moved this month into the fire sign, what we call its own domicile, that is going to give it a lot more energy, a lot more drive. That's all against the background of these retrograde planets. Notice on the 12th and 13th, Mercury went forward. Now, you might think that you've got the go-ahead to make the decisions that you want to make, but keep your eye on how this planet is going to start making, firstly, the opposition there to Jupiter, then to Pluto, and then to Saturn again, from this 12th house of selfless service to one of planning, effectively understanding the motivation for why you're working. These are the big points. Notice also that we mentioned Mars had moved from the water sign. This is a fire planet from the water sign of Pisces into this higher part of the horoscope, a fire sign of Aries. And the Sun was just recently there in the water sign of Cancer, while Mercury is retrograde there. Then on the 20th, 21st, moving to the fire sign of Leo, your sun sign. So this is the commencement, the latter part of the month, around the 21st, last 7, 8, 9 days. You've got your sun doing its, what we call the solar return here, depending on the specific birth date. But therefore you have a growing trine aspect between Sun, your ruler, and Mars, your secondary best planet. And that is going to build in a positive energy. And this has to do with yourself and what you're bringing to the table. So what I'd like to say is that especially here around the, what's the date there, 28th, 29th, 30th, you can see Mercury now having moved in its forward direction, starting to make those really difficult aspects here. If you bring too much attention to this, how other people are functioning, the locality, the constrictions of COVID, all of that stuff's going to drag you down. So I think the lesson for you this month, the karmic lesson, is a big one, that one, especially one being the Leo, must rely on oneself. It's about what you are going to create this month in your work, what you are going to exude, what you are going to project into the world around you, that is going to be the significant game changer for you, not just this month, but in the months to come. And next month we're going to see, hopefully, some of, well, at least Jupiter. It may not be next month, maybe it is, I'll have to check, but obviously we're going to be talking about these planets in more depth next month. So don't forget to check out my site, astrology.com.au. You're going to get this rather, what I call Oracle Express version of July, against the backdrop of the chronological transits that we have there, that we've produced with the Kepler software we use, and that gives you the opportunity to see exactly what's happening in concert with what I've said here. Drop me a line. Don't forget to subscribe. If you've got some thorny problems in astrology, because I know a lot of the viewers here are trying to learn astrology, if I can help you with anything, put it on the table and let's share that with everyone. Stay safe till next month, and I do hope to see you here again. Bye-bye for now.